Minister, the position that you're maintaining in relation to our call for an independent inquiry into the 7 named local authorities and also in County Waterford is completely untenable. Quite clearly now, what we've seen or what we've heard from you and others doesn't have any credibility, and that's a very serious issue. Yesterday, Judge Gerard Griffin sentenced former Fine Gael councillor Fred Forsney to 6 years following a guilty conviction on 6 counts of receiving corrupt payments. And it is entirely in the public interest that people know exactly what happened in Waterford. How can members, or how could members of Waterford County Council zone land whilst a Garda criminal investigation was in progress? So you're not serving the public interest in the course of action that you're pursuing, particularly in relation to Waterford. And I'd like to remind both of you of Judge Griffin's comments when he said yesterday that Mr Forsney gravely breached the trust of the electorate, that the crime was in the upper to mid-range of the scale. He said that political corruption undermines the civic nature of society. He said that it's very important that corruption not be allowed into the fabric of society and that it causes inequality.
Could frame a question, please.
I'm getting to that, Chair. And we now learn from this morning of a further call from 2 Fine Gael councillors seeking an independent inquiry. So my question is, why are you engaged in a cover-up in relation to this? Or who are you covering up for? And I think the public have a right to know. It's an issue of serious public interest. And you're laughing. You're sitting over there laughing.
Okay.
You're sitting over there laughing. And I'd remind you, Minister Hogan, it's a watershed moment for you, because people are interested in this. And it goes to the heart of ethics and credibility of the planning process. And you're sitting there laughing.
I'll call the Minister.
So I'm asking you, will you open an independent inquiry into Waterford?
Minister,
because it's an issue of serious public interest.
Minister,
and to sit there and laugh, you know, is just, it's unbelievable.
Minister,
it's unbelievable. And you can talk about straight faces all you like.
Please.
Concordia, first of all, I completely reject.
Please. But the Minister, sorry, there's only 2 minutes left for the Minister.
I completely reject Deputy Collins's allegations. You know perfectly well, Deputy Collins, that what we were doing in this particular case was completing a review, and the word was review, that was initiated or intended to be initiated by the former Minister. Waterford was nothing to do with it. It is not one of the 7 local authorities selected by Minister Gormley. We are simply completing the job that Minister Gormley intended to start but didn't start. And that is all this review is. And don't make it out to be something that it isn't. There were no allegations of corruption in the 7 issues that were raised with Minister Gormley. There were never allegations of corruption in those particular ones. And this review is completely separate to the kind of corruption that is, for example, pointed to in the Mahon report, and we will be responding to the Mahon report in due course very shortly as a whole-of-government response. And the issue in Waterford is entirely separate, and it shows actually that the court system worked, because somebody was taken to court and they were found guilty, and they will now serve their sentence, and that is as it should be. But it is a completely different scale of the issues that were actually particularly selected by former Minister Gormley when you were in government with him. He selected those issues. There were issues around pre-planning meetings, height of buildings, local area plans. They were the kinds of issues that he instigated or intended to instigate reviews on. Nothing to do with the kind of corruption that you're talking about. So please do not try and misinform the public in relation to these issues.
Very briefly,
just misinform the public. And Waterford is a local authority, the same as the other 7 local authorities. And are you saying that there's no issue there in Waterford? A man was sent down for 6 years who had nothing to do with the zoning, who didn't have a vote, but yet councillors went ahead and voted and put through a zoning when there was a Garda inquiry, a criminal investigation. Does that mean anything to you? What does it mean to you? And you sit there and you laugh.
Final reply.
What does it mean for the credibility of ye as ministers, or the credibility of your parties, or the credibility of the planning process?
Okay. Final reply from the Minister.
It's a complete disgrace.
You are a complete disgrace because...
Please. No, Deputy.
This is a matter in the public.
Deputy.
It is in the public.
Deputy, please.
Can we please clarify?
Final reply from the Minister.
Can we please have an honest debate on this? What I have completed is to do with 7 issues in 7 local authorities selected by your government, my former Minister Gormley. Waterford was not one of them. I couldn't complete a review about Waterford that hadn't been started.
Right,
That is just untrue. So will you please not?
Look, could
will
we
you
have to
please?
Please, through the chair.
That is
through
not
the chair.
true, Deputy Collins.
No, please, Deputy.
You are deliberately distorting what those reviews were about. You are deliberately distorting.
No, we'll go on to the next question.
Why do we have a court
Minister,
system? The court has found what happened in Waterford. The court has convicted. The court has done its job in Waterford.
That's a different